What's up, folks? I'm Odd, by the way. I'm back, and I'm back with Pokemon. I'm feeling much more refreshed, I feel like, and ready to actually, make another Pokemon video after October, which was just all Pokemon for me. So, we are going to be doing a challenge today that I think would be interesting. This is partly inspired by 4-Leaf Island, who is doing a brush challenge later this December, and kind of an inspiration of their inspiration. I thought that it would be fun to play around with the Neopets brushes. I have a selection of them up here on the Jelly Neo site where you can see, like, there are quite a few, and what these do is they change the appearance of the Neopet, which is arguably quite inspired by Pokemon as well. There are apparently 73 as of the 25th anniversary paintbrush. At that, I figured that we would just roll a couple of Pokemon. I think 3. I think I can do 3 Pokemon. And then go for a random number generator, which I might have to pull up. So have that random generator pulled up, and our random Pokemon generator, random Pokemon, random brush from the website. We'll check to see what the brushes do, because they change more than just the color of the pet sometimes. A lot of them, like the random regular color ones, which if we get, I might honestly reroll, but the regular color ones just change the color of the Neopet, but the fancy ones, the ones that are stupid expensive, are like, they change the nature of the pet a little bit. So much so that they're like clothes for different, like, altered paintbrush pets. At that, let's just get our first Pokemon. A boop. Ho-Oh! Okay, starting off strong with a legendary. So we have Ho-Oh, and then we will generate our random number. 18. So how many are in there in a row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18. Get off my lawn, paintbrush. So I'm assuming this is an elderly... Okay. Old man Ho-Oh. Or old lady Ho-Oh. Is there really much of a difference? I guess they're just kind of dressed up in different outfits to start, maybe? That's funny. Okay. So we've got Ho-Oh and Old Man Paintbrush. Which is interesting because I wouldn't take legendaries as being able to age. But okay. And I'll probably try to interpret what the types of these will be. So we've got Ho-Oh. Let's generate another Pokemon. Venomoth. Okay. And then generate 26. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 26. Lost Desert Paintbrush. So I'm sure... Yeah, so these are all desert themes. Very Egyptian, which is fun. Egyptian Venomoth, I'm not totally sure how that will work. So, Desert Zweetalk is cool. I have a Zweetalk. A Desert Venomoth. Well, that sounds like a ground type if I've ever heard one. I mean, usually they are. Alright, and our final Pokemon for the day. Generate. Carablast. This is a Pokemon I don't know a lot about. But okay. And then... Boop. Generate 23. 5, 10, 15. Wait. 5, 10, 15, 20. 1, 2, 3. Gray. Okay, so this one is all sad. Yeah, this is a relatively new one, and it changes the pet to be depressed. So we're going to have a depressed... God, their eyes are all red. They're so sad. They've just been crying. Look at the poor babies. Why do you want this? Why would you want this? Oh my gosh. Okay, so... Oh my god, that is Carablast as a sad gray child. I guess it's just for the lore, isn't it? Like, if you just want that angsty of a pet. The gray items make me sad, and I mean, that's the point, but they're just so limp and and unfortunate you. And it's so, like, the brush itself is like, it's flaccid. Alright, so for a recap, we have a old ho-oh, an Egyptian-style Venomoth, which should be interesting, and a sad, depressed Carablast. So at that, I will throw this over to Speedpan voiceover and show you guys what I came up with these three when we get there. So, see you there. Starting out with the old ho-oh, I was a little unsure about this to start, but it did kind of outline the rest of my pieces for this. Neopets has this variable degree of anthropomorphizing the pets. As a player, you can choose to make your pets more animal-like or person-like, and the NPCs are all pretty personified. I figured I would kind of approach the Pokemon here less like Pokemon in the games, but more so in a Neopets-like world. I guess something like Mystery Dungeon or the new Pokopia game where they take more center stage as opposed to humans, but maybe even more anthropomorphized than that. My best reference here was probably the Lenny, which is a kind of crane-like bird Neopet. Genuinely, if Ho-Oh were a Neopet, it could probably be a Lenny. That being said, the elderly designs are more of a cute retiree grandparent gear situation. The Lenny specifically are bird watching, which is super cute, but I wanted something a little bit more elegant for a legendary, so I went for more of an elderly professor sort of vibe. I also forewent the orthopedic shoes the elderly Neopets wear. Again, cute, but I don't really like drawing anthro characters, especially birds, in shoes. It doesn't make sense to me. I did add an outfit though, a sweater vest with a short-sleeved shirt underneath that didn't impact the wings too much. I considered shorts for a good while, but they felt too awkward with the skinny talons beneath the main leg, so I opted for a more skirt-like design. I wanted to keep the whole vibe of their outfit pretty ambiguous. After all, legendaries are sexless, and I thought that it would be cool to integrate into gender presentation for them too. I also gave them a cane that resembles bell tower, which that spike on the top looks deadly. I didn't wind up changing the typing for this character. I figured they would effectively just be a normal ho-oh in this world. I called them Professor Phoenix. Professor Phoenix is an instructor at a school for Pokemon. Some of their students don't really take them seriously, disregarding them as some sort of eccentric old Firo or something. But they are far more experienced than even their visibly advanced age implies. They're currently at the end portion of their life cycle, which is in fact a cycle. Like their name implies, they will eventually burn up and be reborn in their own ashes. In the earlier parts of this cycle, they are an energetic fighter and a fierce guardian, but they usually take this end stage to teach the next generation. A few lucky pupils may even get to see them as they truly are. Next up is the Lost Desert Venomoth. I couldn't help but kind of tie in more of a mummy motif for this one. It made a lot of sense because I feel like a tomb of some sort might contain some moths over time. I didn't really have a direct one-to-one reference for this in terms of regular Neopets. The closest I got was a Buzz, which was notably more dragonfly-like. Honestly, a moth Neopet would be so cute to me. I know bugs were probably not a top priority for a, virtual pet game, though. Similar to a lot of the desert designs, I went for an Egyptian headpiece look to their antennae, making the front a decorative gold piece and the sides more supportive with a somewhat Nemesis-like center hat. I ultimately landed on a sort of half-entombed looking body with a golden thorax and some bandaging on the abdomen. I thought it would be kind of fitting to have some holes throughout the wings. Funnily enough, they almost look moth-eaten. I really struggled on the name here. I actually already made a Pokemon character named after Khepri, who is a bug god, and they're also mainly a scarab over anything else. I ultimately landed on Linen. Something about it, maybe it being a natural fiber, made it feel like it suited this character. I did change their typing to a ghost bug instead of ground, like I'd initially expected, just due to the whole, undead mummy thing. Linen was uncovered in an ancient tomb, awoken from her years-long slumber by archaeologists. She was once the Venonat guardian of the pharaoh, entombed alongside them, but somehow remained alive for hundreds of years. When she was uncovered, she realized her charge was still at rest and not coming back just yet. Now she acts as a direct source on knowledge of ancient Pokemon in the outside world, part of her still waiting for the return of her pharaoh. And finally, the brush that makes you depressed, Carablast. I will be so real, I don't think I have ever used Excavalier, and I didn't fully realize this was its pre-evolution. I did realize that it steals Shelmet's armor, though, which is why Excelgor is out of its shell. I would almost expect Excelgor to be a ghost type, actually, given the brutal dex entries about this angry little guy. It actively hunts Shelmet and dissolves its armor to eat the insides. Onto the brush, though. This one is so funny to me. It's just genuinely depression. There's this whole canon thing going on right now on Neopets called The Void Within that explains this. A bunch of main areas of the map are all monotone and all the NPCs are also gray and depressive. It's wild to me that you can just decide to impart this curse onto your pets for funsies. Given I'm a writer, I get it, but it almost feels meaner with a pre-existing character that seems relatively happy. This was definitely the quickest of the three drawing-wise, though I did try to add more to the design than just making them look like the saddest little vampire. Since Carablast's little grabber looks like a wrench, I leaned into that by giving him some little pouches for tools and naming him, well, Wrench. I considered making him a steel type, but Excavalier is already that. I could see his evolution maybe actually being a dark type, but I think being a first stage, he's still just a little bug. Wrench, despite his appearance, is a pretty enthusiastic journeyman maintenance worker. He's been particularly burnt out lately, but doesn't really understand the correlation between that and his currently very poor work-life balance. His coworkers don't know how to tell him this, so they usually just let him go feel his feelings in the meantime. Little guy needs a vacation, but will he take it? Probably not. And those are all my designs for this week. I had a lot of fun with this. I really liked kind of extending the personality of these characters into a more personified sort of world. Gotta love some Neopets. So weird that the game is as old as I am, but I only really got into it as an adult to play time to time on my own. The number of hours I have spent on their damn solitaire game, I swear. Let me know what you think of this in the comments, along with any other art challenges you'd like to see me do in the future. At that though, I'll leave this here, and I will see y'all next time.